I went out for a roast the other day. Roast beef in bolognese sauce on potatoes with salad on a big plate. Our accents are shaped by the geography of where we grow up.
Yeah.
So people that live in very hilly places tend to have a more up and down melodic flow.
You're kidding.
Write what you can't bear to admit, go into the wound and from it create. As somebody kind of socialised female, my experiences as a musician, when I was in a room of like people kind of assigned male, I always thought they were better than me.
As a woman.
I put the guitar down pretty quickly once I realised. I've never found things like videos enjoyable or easy, but since transition, I feel amazing. Amazing. It just felt like the best day of my life.
Hello and welcome to Table Manners. I'm Jessie Ware and I'm here with Lenny and we've just had a Barney.
Yeah, you've just shouted at me.
Should we tell everyone why I just shouted at you?
Because I didn't
shouted at me first.
I didn't make dessert and you said you were making dessert and I said I didn't know I was making it and you said you were making it.
You did.
But we never discussed what I was making, so I didn't feel it. I'd manifested the dessert.
What happened was that we shouted at each other. I may be slightly overwrought at the moment. I'm quite tired and...
I felt it.
Well, I felt it too, Lenny.
Okay.
Anyway, it's not the best start to a dinner date that I'm very excited about. We have the marvellous Kae Tempest coming on.
Multi-talented.
I mean, like, playwright, poet, lyricist, novelist, writer, I mean, everything. Just incredibly gifted person. He's coming on to talk about his new book, Having Spent Life Seeking. It's his second novel, 10 years on from his, I think, best-selling first novel.
Yeah, Sunday Times bestseller.
Really beautiful, and it's about this character called Rothko who comes out of prison and has to confront a lot of things of what they left behind. And the characters are absolutely amazing and I loved listening to it on the audiobook. So we're really excited to have him on and talk about, well, he's also up for an Ivor this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, so yeah, he's having a good week.
I don't know how he has time in between all his awards.
I know. So I am on food duty today and I've made an Easter Belfridge Instagram recipe that she put up last weekend. Kind of a coconut tomato base that you whiz up in a blender. It's got turmeric, garlic, cherry tomatoes, curry powder, paprika, honey, coconut oil and coconut milk. And you just whiz it all up. It's so easy. Put them all in, cook it for a bit to reduce it, and then you plop in some eggs. I've done with that her sticky coconut rice cake that I think I made for Amanda Holden and Alan Carr. I've got some sourdough that I've made, and then a really nice maple lime sesame baby gem lettuce salad. And then we've got a big giant cookie that's going in the oven that actually looks really good. So Kae Tempest coming up on Table Manners. Kae Tempest.
Hi.
Hi.
Jessie Ware.
Thank you for being here. This was quite a nice, easy...
This is so nice to be here. It's just amazing. What a beautiful place. And it feels so warm and it smells so delicious. And I'm very happy to be sitting here talking to you two.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Mum and I'll just clear it out now and then it's done. Let's just get it done, okay? Mum, by the way, I think you look very nice in your daffodil spring lemon. Okay, she won't even look at me. Look, okay, let's just explain what's just happened, why there's a bit of frost.
Jessie thought I was making dessert.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was making dessert because no one had said to me, what are you making, Mum?
But this is where Kae, it gets a bit complicated, because I did say...
Right, she said she did, but what did you think I was making?
Anyway, what happened was she didn't bring one, and I said, okay, we don't have anything, what are we going to do? And instead of just saying, sorry, babe, you said, I did it anyway. And then you come in and you go, don't worry, I've given up.
I've given up sugar.
For Lent.
For Lent.
Yeah.
But I've just made a giant cookie and a skillet, so I think...
I mean, that's amazing.
But I don't want to make you, renege on your goals.
No, but I'm really glad that you've made a giant cookie. And
You're not going to eat it.
Well, my
can take
girlfriend
it
is
home.
like absolutely like cookies are her thing.
Oh, so
like,
should we give some for you to take home?
If I could take some home.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thank you. That satisfies me,
And
actually.
then I can appreciate it and almost get more satisfaction out of watching her enjoy it than I would. Do you know what I mean?
Does that work like that?
Yeah. Well, so far it has.
So no chocolate
No.
since Pancake Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or cigarettes. But it's actually harder giving up sugar.
Why have you done this to yourself?
I need to ask the universe, the divine, for a lot of strength at the moment. And I thought, I can't ask for something without sacrificing something. And I was having this moment in Stammer Park in Brighton with a friend. We were just having this really beautiful moment. And I realised that it was Pancake Day. And I was like, I need to do something. I need to make a change. And I realised it was Lent. So there's this kind of structure in place that supports keeping track of the days. Because there's this thing you can look up. When did I start this? Pancake Day. So you can look that up. Anyway, so I just decided to make this, movement towards rebalancing something and asking for a bit more focus and grounding. I just think it's important to give in the same manner as you wish to receive, you know?
I think that's really beautiful. And I just want to know, are you needing strength because you're bringing out a book, or is it something, is it about work related, or is it enmeshed in lots of different things, or?
Yeah, it's like this moment, it can be quite a challenging moment, and also life stuff, and just, you know, you end up getting yourself into places where you're like, hang on, I need to just refocus and just find a bit more of myself in all this. And I think like sometimes I can fall into patterns of drinking lots or eating loads of cookies or smoking loads of fags. And then you kind of, the distractions are useful, but actually what I'm more interested in is just be able to cope with from my own resources. When you're touring and things like that, the thing about alcohol or sugar or things like that, they're very much a part of how you deal with everything in the day. It's not like in another job, you wouldn't just like casually everyone be drinking at work, or maybe they would at some jobs, but in music, it's everywhere all day.
Yes,
and then you might have loads of adrenaline after a show, and then you could be drinking because you're in celebration mode, but then the next day you're hanging, and then you're like, well, I need to have a drink now because otherwise the show tonight won't be very good. And you can end up on this cycle of not being very present. And this is something I want to be present and well and healthy for, because you're going out in front of people and asking them to come and spend their money and give their time to be in a room with you. So I want to be in my best. I just want to be closest to the source as I can be. And I'm a bit all or nothing. And sometimes I need something like, I need the structure of it. Otherwise I can't make the decision, you know.
Have you started touring, or are you about to?
I've been touring. And then,
whilst being on this 40 days?
Well, the last tour stopped, but now I've just been on tour last week for a book. It's a different thing.
The book that we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
By the way, congratulations. We have the book, but I'm so glad that I got to listen to it in the audiobook form.
That's really nice.
Particularly, I think it's chapter 11 in The Old Days. Is it chapter 11?
Yeah, that is exactly what it is.
It's so powerful. I mean, all of it is, but that is I'm so glad that I got to listen to that with the music and the poetry. And congratulations. It's really excellent. And I don't want to give anything away, but I was so relieved for kind of the redemption at the end, because we enter this story of Rothko, who's come out of prison, and it was hard, it was brutal, it was sad. And then slowly you learn about there's love in there. There's so much love in there. It reminded me, I've read a couple of the Douglas Stewart books, Shuggie Bain and Young Mungo, and there was like this, that's a compliment to you,
no,
if that's okay. Okay,
yeah.
good. Because the kind of chaos and confusion in a kind of mother's relationship with their child and stuff like that, I think that you put that across so beautifully.
Where did Rothko come from, the name?
It's so interesting when you try and think your way back to where an idea begins. It just came to me because it's something Meg said, who's Rothko's mum. When you're working on characters, you spend a lot of time with them. At first, you're telling them what to do, say, think. And then once you know them well enough and you've given them enough of your time, there's this kind of sweet spot when they start to just speak and you become an eavesdropper or something. You're kind of listening to them talk to each other. Meg just kind of said to Rothko, oh, you're always going red as a Rothko. You know, it's about the fact that they're always blushing. I knew that I wanted their name to reflect this kind of state of shame, this chronic shame that they carry around. But then if I go back even further than that, I was staying at a friend's house When I was trying to start writing, I knew I wanted to find this character. It was really early stages. My friend has this place and he let me stay there. I went back like 2 years later and I was staying in the same room, and I woke up in the morning and I saw he's got this big poster at the end of the bed, and it's like a list of all these artists that had done an exhibition, and it was like the top name in big headline was Rothko.
Yeah.
So then at some point it's gone into my mind's ear, you know, and then you don't really know how you filter and translate everything you look at, feel, experience. It's kind of imagination, experience, and I don't know, memory, and it all kind of gets filtered through the lens of your imagination and your craft, and suddenly out it comes, and now it's as if that's just their name. It's always been their name, you know?
You do write beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Thanks.
very evocative. I agree with Jessie. Listening to the audiobook was very powerful. I mean, we all read, but I loved hearing your voice.
But you also you perform
thank
it
you.
so well.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
part of your craft is how you do it. You act. So like, have you done acting?
No, I haven't done acting.
Would
but
you ever? Because I mean, you've done you've written plays. You've
I'm really interested in the crossovers between actors and how they approach the performance space, and what I know as a musician or as a lyricist when I go out there. I know a lot about the stage and what it does, but I've never been trained in the way actors are trained about how to embody character and how to be as inquisitive as actors are about who the characters they're playing are. Like, the best readers I've found of anything are actors, because an actor will read a few lines of text and they go so deeply into what that might mean, who that character is. It's really something, you know, it's something.
I don't think an actor could have read that story like you did.
no.
To be
Well,
honest.
that's nice to hear.
It is remarkable, Kae. Like, you are a phenomenal poet and celebrated, but it wasn't just that chapter 11, by the way. It's the way the conversations between, Dion and Rothko, or how you can change from that, which has kind of banter and flirting and like intense passion, to then Ezra, Rothko's father, who I'm really interested by. And has acknowledgement of like Judaism, because Ezra's a practicing Jew. I'm really interested because I know that you're of Jewish descent.
Yeah,
Which bit?
my dad's side.
Okay.
But so I'm not really. I wasn't baked in a Jewish oven, as they say.
And were you brought up with any Jewish kind of connections?
Well,
Your grandparents?
my grandparents. Like, when I would go to my grandmother's house, my nan's house, it's more a kind of cultural thing. Her home, just, there was always so many people there. It's one of my first memories is being like on like a Rosh Hashanah or a Passover or something. Everybody
Sitting
going
around
there.
the table.
But I remember being under the table, being so young, when you're crawling under the table and just all of the feet. I remember and the sound of everybody
So loud.
talking and
Everyone talking.
everyone talking and everyone smoking fags and eating loads of food and like just lovely flamboyant people. Like, it was so long ago, and then when she died, it was much harder to get the whole family together because like she was the kind of linchpin of it all. And I remember them trying to do the story, the stories of like, why on this night do we?
Yeah,
And
Passover.
Yeah, and I just remember that no one was even listening, and then they would do the prayers, and like people didn't have the right little hats on, so they would just use like
A napkin.
Yeah, napkin, yeah.
And I just, for me, I associate it with something beautiful. Like, I think for my dad, who was brought up, like, his parents were pretty orthodox. They were like,
Like you, Mum.
and he didn't resonate so much with it because it was something that was kind of forced on him. And I think for lots of people that are brought up religious, they don't have. I have this relationship with religion with all the religions, where I find them beautiful and intriguing, and how wonderful that we have these rituals in place that go back a long time that can help us deal with the practices of life and living and approaching the world beyond, which is very present with us.
Are you formally religious?
No.
I mean, would you go to church or...
I would walk into a church and I would be very moved and I would burst into tears.
Were your family religious? Did they go to church?
No, but I have this relationship with the old stories, and I don't think of the religious stories as literal. I just find them very useful myths. And I've always been interested in the mythic landscape.
You did something with mythology, didn't you?
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
yeah.
It was called Brand New Ancients. It was a long time ago, and it was a story of using old stories as a framework to kind of hang these contemporary stories on this very ancient mode. And it was a long poem that I delivered, so it kind of had this like epic, very old feeling. People, used to memorize hours and hours and hours of text, and they would go around telling their stories. And in other cultures they still do it. In West Africa, the Griots are still kind of going around with hours of like memorized poetry. So I was kind of trying to root myself in a tradition that's very ancient by standing on stage and just going.
You were quite young when you started writing poetry.
Yeah, I was. I didn't think I was writing poetry. I was.
You're writing lyrics.
Yeah, it was music that got me.
So was that when you were at the Brits?
Yeah, just before. I went to the Brit School at like 16, and
So you'd left Thomas Tallis by then?
Yeah.
And you'd started refusing to go to school.
Yeah, I wasn't going to school for the last couple of years of it.
Because you have ADHD?
Yeah.
But was it to do with how you were learning, or was it to do about struggling with your identity? I don't like.
Yeah.
What do you know? Why you started refusing?
Isn't it, to look back as adults at the children we were, and try and give them the sensibility that we have. Like the kid that I was didn't know what was going on, and they weren't very well. I wasn't very well back then. I was dealing with things that I didn't know how to deal with, and I found school a really difficult place to be. But I was very inspired at that time by the things that meant a lot to me, like music, like fiction, reading novels, like my friends. That these connections were powerful and important. And what was happening at school or at home, there was a lot of beauty in the world, but it wasn't there. So like I didn't go there. But then I found out about the Brit School. I went with my friend and his mum to this open day, and then I was just like, what do you mean all these people can just think about the thing they love all day? I couldn't believe it. And I got in there, I did my audition, I was playing like Spanish guitar.
Can you play guitar?
I haven't played for years. I stopped playing. I think this is actually interesting. As somebody kind of socialised female, my experiences as a musician when I was in a room of like people kind of assigned male was that I didn't want to assert myself because I always thought they were better than me, or I didn't want to, there's just something that you learn about not wanting to
as a woman
upset the kind of
it's like, I think hopefully it's changed now, but even there at the Brit School where everyone's a musician, it was like I knew that when I fell towards my true passion, which was words and lyrics, there was nothing going to stop me there. Like nobody was going to be better than me there. So then I was able to kind of flourish and thrive. But I put the guitar down pretty quickly once I realised that.
I remember very, very clearly, I was singing with a guy called Subtract, and we were at Brighton, the Brighton Dome, is it called?
Yeah.
And you were, probably with Sound of Rum at that point.
Bless you for remembering that. That is so.
I remember
so
you because
sweet
you were so memorable. Because we had the connection of Laura Dockrell.
Yeah, Docker's MC.
Yeah, Docker's MC. I had experienced Laura Dockrell, who's so brilliant, and was doing the spoken word thing. And I thought it was just the bravest thing I'd ever seen. Like, go up and say a poem. Like, I'd only seen that on, like, Moesha.
Wow, what, braver than singing?
Yeah. You're more laid bare, I feel like. You don't have, like, the music behind you.
Interesting.
And you're like there and there's no escaping it with like, I guess I feel like you can have the distraction of a melody with it. Don't know. You were a total powerhouse. And I was so impressed by like your confidence and like determination on stage. It was really amazing.
If I had to do those things now, I wouldn't have I wouldn't be able to. It's because of every day that I did all those things that I'm able to be. Do you ever feel like that? It's like, I don't think, like I was so driven to be close to lyricism and music like that. It was so important to me. It was so loud in my head. Like I needed to get these words out, and I would do often like 2 or 3 gigs a night sometimes, just going from pub to pub to pub, and I'd stand outside and I'd be rapping on a bench to whoever would listen, and like all this stuff. I think about it now. I think I would never go up to a group of strangers getting on with their evening at a bus stop and be like, yo, like check out my bars, But there's something about, I have such a debt of gratitude to the the person I've been, the child I was, the adolescent I was, the young adult I was. Because of all of that inability to switch it off, I'm able to get to this point where I can live for my ideas. My ideas are given value by other people, which is something that's extremely important. And I think about the people in my life that don't have access to their creativity, that don't have an outlet for the things that they feel. As artists, we're able to process through this stuff that we make. And it's like the novel, when I was writing it, I had a kind of couple of slogans up on the studio wall, and one of them is "Write what you can't bear to admit," which is something, a quote said to me by Enriching, a theatre director, a dear friend of mine. He said, Ted Hughes said that, but I don't know. I've never been able to find where Ted Hughes said it. But this thing about write what you can't bear to admit, go into the wound and from it create. And this transformative, powerful alchemy that you're party to and that you're kind of guided by, it means that you can really be in this life, Whereas if I hadn't done all of that, gone on stage, put myself through everything I was putting myself through to just get myself there, I wouldn't have developed this foundational knowledge with language and lyricism. It was my training. It was really, it was my training,
Who are your biggest influences, would you say, growing up about words, really, and lyrics?
Well, I listened to this. This is actually true. I would listen to anything, and be really blown away by how it got made. Or I could listen to something that I didn't enjoy, taste-wise, but be fascinated by what they were doing, how they were doing it, what about it wasn't reaching me.
Okay.
I had a job at a record shop.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
It was called Morp's Music. It was in Lewisham Model Market. Lewisham Market round the back. I think now it's probably a cocktail bar, but back in the day, it was like it was a market, and there was like a.
Yeah, I remember.
They sold like gold and jewellery. There was somewhere selling patties, and then there was a record shop.
So what were you listening to?
Well, the shop that they put me in was it was like dancehall, R&B, and hip hop, and I loved hip hop, but I didn't know anything about R&B.
Okay.
And it wasn't my taste, but I learned, and I didn't know anything about dancehall, but what happened was I got to stand in this record store and watch people come in and talk to each other about this music that I didn't know anything about. And you know what it's like when you hear somebody talking about how much they love something, it's like a way in.
Yeah.
You're introduced to the world of it through looking at somebody that looks like a really interesting person, and they want to listen to this record that you've never even heard of. It was the lyrics and the performance, the delivery of lyrics that got me.
So who did you admire, like?
At that time, I was listening to a lot of kind of East Coast, like Golden Era.
Explain that to Mum.
Okay, I have no idea.
Do you know West Coast and East Coast?
No.
Rap.
So in
Nas, Jay-Z, East Coast. West Coast,
like New York
different.
or LA had different sounds.
Oh, okay.
And
I
the
know
rappers
nothing
had
about
different.
this.
Well, on the different sides of that vast land, the complexities and the sounds within what the rappers
Does that
from different
reflect
places were
their
doing.
experiences in life? Do you think that?
Well, you could think
East
about.
Coast would be different. New York.
Well, our accents are shaped by the geography of where we grow up.
Yeah.
So people that live in very hilly places tend to have a more up and down melodic flow.
You're kidding.
No, of course. And also people that live in very flat places. It's the kind of musicality of language is often to do with what is happening to sound around us.
How interesting.
So if you think about LA and New York, two very different. The designs of those cities are very different, and also the sounds coming out of how people were making.
And the sound that you make,
but also what was available to people tech-wise, and how people were using their samples, and what was happening, like what's going on, what's the scene, what's the next door neighbor making, and So the LA sound was much more kind of bright and sunshiny, and the raps tended to be more aspirational or kind of a bit more kind of bright. There was a brighter light coming, like a spotlight on them.
So who's a famous New York rapper I'd know?
Well, for me at the time, I was listening to Mos Def, or Yassine Bey is known as now. He's from Brooklyn, but maybe, you probably would have heard his songs, but maybe somebody more famous would be like Notorious B.I.G. or something,
Yeah. And where was Jay-Z? He was on the other side.
No, he was
also New Yorker.
He was East.
And then somebody like
Have you
Snoop
ever done
Dogg or Tupac or something.
Have you ever done a programme about this?
No.
This needs to be told, this story. I think it's so fascinating.
Actually, the whole thing about
Sound
language and sound and diet, I knew nothing about that.
I didn't know that hills would make you be more lyrical and up and down in the
Yeah.
way you presented it.
But if you think about like within the UK, the more like hilly regions, the more mountainous regions, if you think about like the Welsh accent, how like melodic it is.
Yeah, you're right.
And like how beautifully it reflects the
Yeah.
the geography of the land.
yeah,
Islands,
yeah, the hill, yeah.
I don't know how immediate the effect of the landscape
Okay.
is. I wonder
It
if you
just-
have to be
yeah,
rooted
okay,
in a
you
place for a
live
few
it.
generations.
You have to live it, yeah.
But for sure, the different sides of the city produce different accents. And like,
It's fascinating.
I was in West London yesterday. I was at a recording studio, and even just being around on the street, I was like, wow, it sounds different. Like the West London, I was in Ladbroke Grove, and it sounds different to Lewisham.
South London,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or even it even looks different. I felt like I was on holiday
So you grew up in Brockley?
in Lewisham, but kind of Lewisham, Brockley. Yeah.
Who was round the dinner table when you were growing up?
I mean, we have a fairly complicated family. There's lots of us, but we're not always in the same place at the same
Okay.
time. So I'm one of 5 siblings, but we're not all the same mum and dad. But
Okay.
when it was all 5 of us and my mum and dad, I remember that being just that would be the best times, like round it.
Okay.
And we'd all sit around dinner table for sure. Yeah,
Where were you in the...
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
But then when they weren't there, then it's like you've lost half. You feel like you kind of.
So were you the youngest and the other 4 were from a different marriage?
It's me and my next one up
Yeah.
from my mum and dad, and then they all both had different
Okay.
kids from before.
So it's a real blended family.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
They call it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was a memorable dish?
My dad's a really good cook. When he was cooking, he'd be in there for hours and hours and hours. He would do amazing things. Actually, I remember one time, like with a salmon, with a big fish, like with the scales on and everything, and he was taking all this thing off and the head off and everything like that.
Wow.
I think it was a salmon. It was like something like that. That would have been a real special occasion, like when like lots of family would have been there. Or he would do, he liked like heavy like roast meat, like beef or lamb or something like that, and all the trimmings. And
Did you eat together most nights?
no, not really. But now we get together for food, and it's a big part.
you?
It's a big part of how we like to.
So
hang
when's
out.
your next getting together? Will it be over Easter?
Well, everyone's like in different places,
Yeah.
and it's hard. But I think it's my dad's birthday actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, happy birthday, Nige. But the
Night. What have you bought him?
I just sent him a cake in the post actually this morning.
A cake in the post.
You
I
can
didn't
get
even know
next day
you could
delivery.
do that.
Yeah. A nice
Wow.
one. Pistachio and raspberry or something. Real
Wow.
nice
How
one.
Oh, that
delicious.
sounds
Which,
good.
which?
They're called Cutter and Squidge.
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
just
good.
found them.
Yeah, I've heard
I
of
looked
them.
up next day delivery cake, and then I was like, wow, these are
Proper.
good cakes. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be over the moon. Food is a big part of how we hang
Yeah.
out, for sure.
Do you cook?
Yeah, I love cooking, and I love being cooked for, and I love to eat.
What's your best dish that you cook?
My favourite thing to make
Yeah.
is to just come home,
Yeah.
see what we've got,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
and then if there's half a courgette left, there's we've got a tin of kidney beans. What's that? Oh, there's some old half
Yeah.
a thing left in the cupboard, some olives, and just to make something.
Oh,
and
you
then
see, I'm
it
not
makes me
really
so
good at-
happy.
Does it?
It's just use up. I love doing
this
the
is
use up.
because you're a creative person, and
Yeah.
I clearly
You're
am not.
improvising.
I love
Yeah,
it so much.
I can't do it.
Because actually, I need the parameters. If I think,
Okay.
what shall I make? Although I tell you something amazing that I made the other day. I'd finally finished touring and all this stuff, and I had a meeting in town, and then suddenly I had free time, and I went to Borough Market because
Yeah.
my meeting was in Under Bridge, and I went to the fishmongers.
Yeah.
I bought scallops for the first time in my
Delicious.
life.
You looked it up.
I looked up how to cook them.
Minimal cooking.
Really, and I made a scallop, like spaghetti with scallops and like lemon and parsley, just very simple. It was delicious for my girlfriend. Put the tablecloth on the table, candles, everything, and I made these like goat's cheese wrapped in like grilled courgettes wrapped up with goat cheese.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it was so special and exciting. Yeah.
Wow, but no dessert this
Yeah, I
week.
did make a dessert.
Oh,
but
you
this was before I gave
Oh,
up the sugar.
okay, all right, fine.
She loves the chocolate, melting in the middle chocolate.
Yeah. Does she cook?
Yeah, she cooks. Yeah, she cooks. But she's more like I think how you are.
Yeah.
Where she needs a recipe, she needs
Yeah.
to think about it, she needs to go
Yeah.
out and get all the bits.
Yeah.
I thought that this table
Yeah.
manners, I thought that I would have to cook for you.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to cook for
Oh,
Jessie
well,
and
we
Ellie.
would have done that.
And then, but I'm glad that I didn't.
And
have
then
to.
we wouldn't have had a row.
But like, I was thinking, oh right, okay. Well, I've got to cook for people. And then I was
Oh,
like,
no, we cook for
So
you.
what,
I'm really
what
glad.
were you going to cook for us then when you thought you were cooking for us, Kai?
That day, I'd just made for family. Actually, they'd all come round, and I'd made from scratch chicken Kievs.
Chicken?
Bloody hell.
Chicken Kievs, you know, with the garlic butter inside,
I
wrap it in
haven't
a
had a
breadcrumb.
chicken Kiev in so long.
How beautiful!
It's come back.
Delicious.
It's come back.
Nobody could not like it unless you don't eat meat or gluten or.
Was it
dairy.
good?
But
It was incredible.
How did you make sure that the butter stayed in the middle and didn't seep out?
So you just you cut like a kind of like crescent shape
Yeah.
around. You fill it,
Yeah.
then you seal it.
How did you seal it? With toothpicks?
I just sealed it just with my fingers, and then because you do the egg wash
The
and
dipping,
the flour and then the breadcrumbs,
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
And by the time that's all happened, you've got and they were absolutely massive.
Were they delicious?
It's amazing.
What did
It felt
you
good.
serve with it?
Some like greens, some peas, and some and a potato salad.
Oh, lovely.
And it was lovely. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Easter Belfridge. Do you know Easter Belfridge? She's
don't.
the most amazing chef. She was one of the. She used to work with Ottolenghi in the
Wow.
test kitchen. She did a cookbook with him. She's got 2 cookbooks out, Fusaya and Mescla, and always her recipes work. And I saw this on Instagram. She'd made it last weekend for brunch, and I just thought it looked really good. It's a kind of tomatoey coconut milk, Scotch bonnet. She's kind of like a
Wow.
shakshuka. But I'm a bit worried the eggs may be slightly overdone, but sorry, sue me.
That's how I like them.
Okay, great. And then we've got sticky coconut rice.
Oh my gosh.
That's been baked. And then we've got like a nice zesty salad. And then some sourdough.
That's Jessie's made.
Well done.
Thank
Incredible
you.
work.
Thank you.
And what's that
Congratulations.
So I'm
there?
just going to put some on your plate. Is
Yeah,
that all right?
yeah, please
okay,
do.
great.
Yeah.
2 eggs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I came hungry.
Okay, good.
It's the right thing to do when you're going to eat a meal cooked for you by someone of your skill.
And then there's some like little limey onions, but there's also other. I mean, it's like, I hope your girlfriend doesn't mind snogging you with onion breath later. So
No, I think she'll be happy with
okay,
that.
fine. Well, we'll give her the cookie.
Do you live together?
We do.
How did you meet?
We met at a barbecue, a friend's barbecue that neither of us wanted to go to. We'd both been going through some pretty heavy stuff in our lives. We did not want to go. And we went and we met. And
Thank you.
we then, after we met, a friend of mine said, this lovely girl wants you to have her number. And a friend of hers said, Kai wants your number. But neither of us had said that to each other. But then I was like, oh well,
Oh my god.
she's in, like, she wants me to have her number. So we went on a date, but neither of us had said that.
Oh my god. Why? Because you were kind of too
I
scared
thought
to?
she was like totally out of my league. I didn't think there was any, Then we went on this date and we just walked around all night. Suddenly it was 5 a.m. We were having a pot of tea and pancakes in an all-night diner and we hadn't stopped talking. The next day I had to go away for work and I just couldn't wait to talk to her again. We'd just been talking all night. I just couldn't wait to talk to her again. And that was like almost just under a year ago. Came out of nowhere, did not want to be in love with anybody. And then there she was.
Do you think you might get married?
I think we're already married, the way it's going, to be honest. Yeah, she's wonderful. Her name's Grace.
Does it feel very different putting a record out to putting a book out?
Yeah, the thing about a novel is, it's for one thing, it's just it's a bigger undertaking. Mm-hmm. It's also much less collaborative. Like when you're down there, you're alone with these characters. Like with an album, putting out the album is the beginning of the live life of the album. But with a novel, the novel being released is the end of my time with it. It's like actually the beginning of the life of these characters out
So
there.
you're handing it over to the world.
Which is beautiful, but not with an album. You finish it and then it has this life where you bring it to life on
Yeah,
stage every
yeah.
night. It's a
So
different.
are you sad about that? Are you ready to let go of these characters?
I feel so close to them. I love them so much. The thing that I feel is I worry about how they will be treated in the world. because I love them so much. That's my feeling. I'm like, I hope they're all right, you know. But I don't feel any sadness. I feel gratitude for having got through something that for me was as major as writing this novel. And as much as I'm somebody who loves to write and lives for it, the undertaking of something like a novel, it's a big labour, and you have to really put a lot into it. Or I do anyway, maybe
How long
other
did
novelists.
it take you to write?
I was writing solidly for 3 years, like solidly, coming off stage and then going into my studio. I'd finish a tour and I would have 2 weeks to turn a draft around. It was like I was doing kind of like 15-hour days at my desk when I had to. I was in the airport making a moving desk out of pulling up the suitcase handle and writing on the laptop as I went around. I was dreaming their dreams. I didn't know which world was the real world, like Edgecliff, the fictional town the novel set, or backstage at a festival in, do you know what I mean, Netherlands.
You've had such success. Well, I mean, your recent record, which, by the way, like the videos and you look so, the songs as well, like I mean, it's really powerful, and it like slaps you in the face in kind of the best way possible.
It was an amazing experience, like making this record and putting it out. I've never found things like videos enjoyable or easy, but since transition, I feel amazing.
Really?
I felt the Juliet Larth, who was the producer of those videos, made it so that all of the people on the set were all queer. It was just like all queer and trans people. It just felt like the best day of my life. When you go into the like makeup person's chair, and before it was just like, I'm so sorry that you've done all this training and you're so good at makeup and hair, and I'm just sitting here and I can't bear my own skin, and you're sitting there and you just feel awful. You feel so bad for everybody because you can't do the thing that you're meant to do, which is stand up and be yourself. But then with these videos and this record, the relief that I feel to be able to enjoy this thing that I adore doing I feel so much gratitude for it. Yeah, amazing. The whole experience has been amazing.
Do you feel you have a huge responsibility towards the trans community?
No, but I do love my community.
Yeah.
I love them. I want to be there for them. I love us. I'm here. But I think responsibility is kind of a heavy word.
Yeah,
as if it's like
it is a heavy
burden.
word. I wondered if it felt heavy.
No, I'm here. I'm here for us. I love us. It's just normal. It's just not. This is just normal. And in the
But
same.
I wondered
like,
if you were asked to speak at things.
Yeah, I mean, if I get asked to do something,
You will.
then I'll go and do it because it's important. But at the same time, even though, for example, the characters in this novel are, there's a trans character in it. There's 2 trans characters in it, But that's not the point of these characters.
No.
In the same way, there's an addict in it, but that's not the point of her.
Yeah.
That's just what she's going through. Like, these are people. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that somewhere outside all the kind of heat that unfortunately gets projected onto the conversation of bodies and gender, is this hopefully a realisation that this is just people. This is just people. And I wanted to write a novel, hopefully, that will speak to people who have direct lived experience that's in common with the characters, but also that have nothing in common with these characters, but can still feel themselves connected and seen by the book. Because I think about the times in my life when I've felt so empty or numb or devoid of connection, and I've found my way back to life through usually fiction. I'll be reading something or listening to an album, and it brings me back into life. And usually it's nothing to do with who I am or where I'm from or the environment I'm in. It could be some book from the 40s written in New York or, but something about the character, their journey connects me more forcefully to my own. And that's the power, I think. If we tell stories, we have this very advanced bit of machinery at our disposal. It's kind of an empathy machine, isn't it, a novel? It's like this thing that we plug into it and it will extend your empathic ability because you're going into story. And as you're able to recognise things in your own self that you might not have time, inclination, possibility to recognise because your life is too intense or busy, it also kind of broadens that bandwidth, I hope, to recognise in others the same universal selfhood that we all carry around.
Last supper.
Yeah.
Starter, main, pud, drink of choice.
Chicken soup,
Okay.
of course.
You having it with loction or matzo balls? Or both?
Matzo balls.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll definitely make you some.
Thank you
promise.
so much. It would mean the world to me. It's like, honestly, it's like, it's something. That is my favourite food, to be honest.
And I promise you, my matzo balls are like clouds.
Yeah, I believe that. I really believe that. Since my grandmother died, I haven't had her matzo ball soup. But my uncle makes a really good chicken soup. And actually, he bought... I threw a big party for my dad. My dad had a big birthday. I threw a big party in my house, and my uncle turned up with 2 big like Tupperwares of chicken soup for me to put in the freezer. And then I went on tour,
love.
and I came back, and I'd kind of forgotten they were in there. There was nothing.
And you got them out.
And I was ill. You know, you get ill when you come home, and it was there. That my uncle's
Fabulous.
chicken soup, Uncle Roger. It was like, it really does something. I've been in like...
It's good for the soul.
It's so good. So I'd have that. Maybe, yeah, I'd have that for my starter. What would I have for my main course? When you go to a restaurant and you eat fish and it's like done in these amazing ways, and I always find that really delicious. But I went out for a roast the other day, and it was like it's like an Italian family that own the pub. It's in Greenwich. You should go there. It's called the Prince of Greenwich.
Okay.
It's really nice. There's like stuff all over the walls. There's a jazz band playing. But in there, they do this like roast beef in bolognese sauce on potatoes with salad on a big plate.
Wow.
And it's delicious.
It's delicious.
Oh, wow. That would... Maybe my kids would have a roast if there was bolognese in it.
It was like...
with the Yorkshire pudding?
No, it's just the roast
Okay.
beef, like
Do you have
kind of
pasta
quite
with
thinly
it?
sliced. No, it's all with roast potatoes.
Oh.
How unusual.
It was like
Okay.
Banging.
banging.
The
Absolutely.
Prince.
The Prince of Greenwich.
Okay, I'm going.
Yeah. But that's what I say today. On another day, I may
Of
always say something
course.
different.
I said baked potato one day, so
yeah,
I mean,
you can't go wrong.
No, but now I'm like, wow, people really think, because I was like, you can do like 4 different sizes, like 4 seasons, you know, in the quarters, and I thought that was
Wow.
quite good. However, now I'm like, I don't know if that would still be mine. So I understand that this is your day today.
Just today. Like
Okay,
a different
so
day, something else.
pudding. Have you got a sweet tooth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Hence
wildly.
Lent.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favourite like pudding is sticky toffee pudding, right? Gotta be. But then what I really love is baklava.
I
love it.
baklava.
And one on a birthday, it was one of my birthdays, and I was on tour, and everybody from the band, I don't know where they got it from, they got me a baklava cake. Like I dream about it. I don't know where it came from, and it was like baklava, like sponge cake, icing. Oh, I'd have that. I think.
Oh, fabulous.
And maybe I'd have a trio of desserts.
Yes.
Like you've got your
Yeah.
baked potatoes.
Yeah.
Do you drink?
I do. Yeah.
What do you like?
I like a Campari spritz.
I
you know?
do too.
Rather than Aperol?
Yeah.
Why?
I like the bitterness.
Yeah, me too. Do you put a lot of orange in there or not?
Yeah, I mean, if I haven't,
I didn't even offer you a drink. Are you not drinking at the moment?
As well.
Okay, fine.
40 days. Can't wait. It's like-
Well done.
But then the thing is, I don't even want to go. It's actually nicer when you take the choice away from yourself, rather than if you can't, then you just can't. You get on with it. Whereas if you can, it's always nice. I mean, when's it not nice? But I like drinking a really lovely pint of beer after a walk to a pub,
Yeah.
preferably by
'Cause
the
you've
sea.
earned it.
I love it.
And what crisps are you getting with that?
I'm getting cheese and onion crisps.
Me too. It's the best.
Yeah.
Jessie likes salt and vinegar.
And I think I get that, but it's
No,
not my.
me neither.
It's just not my party. It's too
enough.
sharp.
You come across as quite a reserved, shy person. So I'm so interested how you perform.
Yeah.
And what you have to, how you gird yourself up to perform.
Yeah.
Whether that's, or am I wrong?
No, I think when I'm in a performance space, it's the most authentic expression of being that I know.
Yeah.
And all of the things that happen when you're in this world, they're not with you in that world. You know, you can go to the place which is the true place, where the music comes from, where the lyrics come from, where the writing comes from, the connective place where you can suddenly disappear from being in a room in front of lots of people and actually be with them. Like somehow there's an internal place that exists outside of the external place, which you can all access sometimes if the flow is right. I don't know how to explain it. There's something that happens to me on stage that takes me away, but also brings me closer to
Who you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like an arrival as much as it is an escape, you know.
Okay.
And I don't really know it anywhere else, but I know it very well in music and in writing and in lyricism, and I know it in collaboration with other people. I know what it feels like to go there with other players or to go there with a crowd, and I know what it feels like to not get there and want to go there and not know why you're not going there tonight. You know, I have a lot of performances under my belt. I've been doing this for 20 years, more 25 years, getting up and rapping my head off. So I've done it in all kinds of different environments, like drum and bass raves or big squat parties full of punk bands, or poetry recitals in libraries, or in very posh grand concert halls, or like just in front of an audience of one in the recording studio. When I was making the album before last, I did the whole album in one take to one person, 3 times in a day to 3 different generations. Like, I think about this stuff really a lot, about how who's listening affects the communication of what it is that you're delivering. So the way I feel about performance, I think about it more than I think about like how I actually communicate or what conversations are like. It's this very special place that gives me so much. So it also takes a lot out of us, as you know. Like, it can be terrifying. You can feel like just before going on tour that you don't have it in you. How are you going to find it? You can be on the floor, useless. You can be a shell, and suddenly you're on stage and you're mighty and you're fine. But the people that share your actual life are the ones that see the impact.
Well, I wondered about that. Is it different performing when when none of your family there or your mates are there? Do you find it impacts on your performance, that it's better when it's completely anonymous situation, or when you've got support, or your dad's in the background? Yeah.
Well, I had this amazing experience on the last tour where my sister's kids, who are 12 and 10 now, were kind of old enough to come and watch the gig. So every single thing that I was saying, I was speaking
to them,
to these kids, and they were up in the balcony up there, and I could everything felt so incredibly important that I communicated not just what I was saying, but how I got to the place where I could say this. And actually having them there illuminated that performance in a way that all of the people I was on tour with were like, what just happened tonight? Like, where did that come from? And it came from speaking directly to somebody that I know and love and I care about. I care about how it hits them. And also I'm wondering how it feels for them to see me, like see Uncle Kae up there, like in that mode. So I feel if you're too aware of what somebody might be thinking, whether it's a family member or the audience, if you have an expectation of what their expectation is, then it becomes very difficult to get out of your head and get into the reality and get out of your own way. Sometimes I can be kind of paralysed by that sensation of like, oh, are they all right? Am I, what do they want? I can have that feeling because there's like cross audiences that come to see my stuff. So like the most kind of visual example of when that happens is Brand New Ancients that we were talking about earlier was this long play that was published as a poem. And I was doing my kind of first ever American tour. And these ladies had been reading it in their church reading group. And they'd come in a little minibus. They'd bought their own chairs. They were ladies of a certain age that needed to bring their own chairs. Yes. And I was there touring my first record, which was like a heavy electronic like rap album. Turned up in America like I'm gonna blow up. Everyone's gonna be there. I'm gonna meet my heroes. And then we turn up in this town and we go out on stage and there's just these like 10 very sweet ladies who've been reading my book in their church reading group with their own chairs in a line. And then at the back there's a few like music fans being like, what is this? What have I come to see? And then I'm just like I'm on stage with 2 drummers, like a synth player, and we're playing really gnarly music. But these people were coming to see the poet from England who'd written about the classical mythology. So what I'm saying is if I'm too aware of what people want, it can throw me off. So I've just got to go and do my thing.
Did you meet them after?
Yeah, I met them after, but I was like...
Did you feel apologetic?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, is it too loud for them? Why? They're just sitting there, just like nodding their heads. They were very...
Do you think they enjoyed it?
I've got no idea. I was like, I didn't enjoy it. I was just like, what am I doing?
Doesn't matter.
Like, I thought like, it shattered the illusion of what it would mean to break it in America. I can tell you that. I was like, okay, this is my niche, you know.
I love it. Before we let you go,
Yeah.
can you give us a nostalgic taste that can transport you back somewhere?
Yeah. I love mint choc chip ice cream.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about this. There was like an ice cream parlour on the seafront. I think it's still there in Brighton. And I remember going there as kids. You'd have to walk all the way up from like the pier or something. You'd have to walk and walk and walk. It just felt like so long. But then when you got there, you could have ice cream.
In a cone or a tub?
You know, always a cone.
Okay.
But now if I went there, I would be getting like salted caramel or like, you know, one of these delicious. But at the time,
Yeah, mint choc chip. It'd be the last one I'd have.
it's such an interesting flavour. It's like
It's,
My
no,
kids
I'm
love
not
it
keen
too,
on
but
it.
they don't like brushing their teeth, so I don't really understand how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
Like, brushing your teeth is boring, isn't it?
yeah, but actually they make brushing your teeth quite interesting and fun for kids because it's like flavours and
Yeah.
like interesting
bubble
things.
gum,
Yeah.
apple. But like, yeah, mint choc chip is a kid's favourite in my house.
Maybe because it's just bright green.
I think, yeah, it's like the Hulk or Grinch.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a bit more exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is green, isn't it?
Yeah.
With bits of dark chocolate
But
in.
also the smell of chicken soup, I imagine.
Yeah,
That kind of oniony.
When you walk into the house and it's been cooking.
Do you put saffron in it?
Ooh,
No, I don't.
no.
My dad put saffron.
Well, you see, I would
Wow.
do it for the colour, but I'm
Yeah.
not very keen on the taste of saffron because it's a bit medicinal.
Yeah.
Kai, thank
Yeah.
you so much for doing this.
for having me.
You're so wonderful and talented, and good luck
Thank
with
you.
the beautiful novel that you've created.
Thank
These
you.
amazing characters.
I hope it finds its way to people. Thanks for giving me the time.
Kae Tempest, one of the most beautiful, interesting, calming, thoughtful guests I think we've ever had.
He's just a delight, a very kind, empathetic person.
He made us not fall out again.
Interesting, he was on Lent and didn't even want to.
I mean, that was a bit of a bummer, I'm not going to lie, when we had fallen out over the cookie. And then I burnt the cookie. So maybe that's
Yeah, it's
karmically.
karma. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I found
Moral of the tale, don't shout at your mum.
moral of the tale, make the pud.
Well, he wouldn't have eaten that either if I'd made it.
Did
So
we learn-
there you go.
Did we learn anything? No. Kae Tempest's book, Having Spent Life Seeking, is out on the 30th of April. It's really beautiful, heartbreaking, raw. Buy the book, but I would also say maybe listen to it on audiobook because he reads it so beautifully. What do you think of the dinner, Mum?
It was delicious.
It was really nice, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Good brunch thing.
Yeah, it's a very good brunch thing. He
Easter
enjoyed
Belfridge
it.
is
Yeah.
just so good. And that salad was really yummy too.
She's very clever.
She's brilliant.
Thanks for listening and watching. And please subscribe.
We'll see you next week for more Table Manners.